Okay, sorry, I know that's the second time I've done this, but today we have the original iPad Pro. This is the 9.7-inch version, and I want to talk about why I chose this one, what I plan to use it for, and my first impressions with it in 2020. Well, first of all, and probably the main reason I got it, is because I've been wanting to review one for a while now, and if you regularly watch this channel, then you may already know that I do my fair share of older iPhone reviews, so I wanted to see if the iPad would last as well. This was the first ever iPad Pro released back in 2016, and subsequently, this is the most affordable iPad Pro out there. So, that's always good. This iPad is also compatible with iPad OS, which I've been wanting to try for the longest time now. Up until this point, the only iPad I had was like an iPad mini 2nd gen. So this is my first attempt at iPad OS, and gotta say, so far, I really like it. iPadOS was probably the second reason why I bought this iPad, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in with it, learning what I like about it, learning what I might not like about it, all part of the process, and all something that I thoroughly enjoy. So far, I love the connectivity with the Magic Keyboard. Even on this older model, it's like a seamless connection, and it adds some genuine functionality to the iPad, such as being able to skip music or like change the volume, as well as the obvious, which is typing easier. In fact, I wrote the script for this video on the iPad Pro. Another thing I was interested in trying was Adobe Lightroom iPad Edition, which is better than the mobile edition that I very much love. It's much closer to the desktop version, and while I'm yet to totally try it in depth, so far, it's pretty great. I love the support for RAW photos, being able to edit in a really intuitive way on the go, and the nice big screen means that dealing with detail isn't an issue. Honestly, I'll probably end up fully switching to this workflow soon. It's such a great experience now, and while I haven't looked into the Photoshop support for this thing, because for me, that would be important, I think for the most part, this thing, stellar photo editing device. Following this, I also want to try out some proper video editing on this thing. I'm yet to give Premiere Rush a proper go, and seeing as I do use the full version to edit videos all the time, this should be an interesting experience. I know there's also a load of other apps like LumaFusion, I think it was called. I think that's like the main one people use, but that's pretty expensive. So, not sure how much of that stuff will be available on the iPad. I don't know if it has warp stabilizer or any kind of stabilizer. Certainly won't have the After Effects integration. And honestly, this probably would be a deal breaker. However, I wasn't expecting to switch to video editing on an iPad. I'm not interested in replacing this computer. I'm simply pretty interested in what the experience could be like. Can you edit some video on this thing? That's something I plan to find out. Another key task I wanted to try was music production, which is actually something that I do a lot of. It's not something that I talk about on this channel really, but yeah, I do a lot of it, and up until now, I've pretty much exclusively been doing this on MacBooks. And well, realistically, I don't think that's ever gonna change. I am still interested to see what other options there are. I know there's a tool called like Logic Remote. I have tried that before. I wasn't too impressed, I'm gonna be honest. As for other app support, however, there's a mobile version of FL Studio that I'm planning to try out. Historically, I've never really liked FL Studio on the computer. Don't get me wrong, it's fine if you're making stuff like beats and mainly electronic stuff, but once you get to recording instruments and mixing, that's where FL Studio has historically fallen apart for me. That said, I'm not writing it off, especially not for GarageBand. Let me know, by the way, if there are any good music production apps. I am planning to do my own research, but if there are any really good ones that you know of or want me to try, feel free to leave a comment. The final thing I'm really looking forward to trying with this iPad Pro is sketching thumbnails in, I forget the name of the program, Autodesk Sketchbook. So planning thumbnails on like flat lay photos can sometimes be pretty difficult. Now, historically, I've overcome this by drawing physically on paper. However, ever the digital minimalist, if I can find a way to digitize it, I'm gonna be doing that. I've given Autodesk SketchUp or Sketchbook? Oh, Sketchbook. I have given Sketchbook a quick go, and so far, I really like it. Don't get me wrong, I'm by no means any good at art, like, at all, but still being able to visualize thumbnails and photos before they happen is extremely useful, and you do end up scrapping less photos. I also think it's going to be pretty useful for storyboards. A lot of the more complex shots in my reviews do actually get storyboarded. So again, if I can digitize this, I will. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about my experience so far, coming from a daily desktop user. Come on. The first obvious thing that I really liked was the screen. At 9.7 inches, I do find this to be a really good size, not too big, but not too small. I also do like the overall brightness. I don't exactly know how bright it is, I'm gonna be honest, but I will make sure to look into all the tech specs before I do my proper review. I will be doing a full review once I've used this thing for a good while, and I've done like a lot more research, but overall, I found the screen to be nice and bright. And when I had a go at editing some photos on this thing, I didn't find myself struggling for brightness. Now, granted, this was only a couple of photos, so we will have to see in the long run, but personally, I think it's been pretty great. Okay, so this I would more or less traditionally expect. However, something that was initially mind-blowing to me was the speakers. And honestly, for integrated speakers, they're pretty incredible. In fact, I'd probably go as far to say that these are probably better than the inbuilt speakers on my 13-inch MacBook Pro. The amount of bass that they get is actually really impressive, and they can get pretty loud too. Yeah, these will certainly be more than enough for casual listening, and I'm actually super glad that they've gone with good speakers on this iPad. So moving on, this version of the iPad Pro actually has a headphone jack, which I personally think they all should, and let me explain why. Now, I know that the headphone jack is kinda obsolete on phones. Realistically, wireless headphones are good enough nowadays that they'll be good for practically any listening experience that you want on a phone. However, the iPad Pro is supposed to be like this mega creativity tool, which includes music production and video editing, and headphones that are good for these tasks are almost always wired. So taking up the one port with a headphone adapter, that seems kinda daft, especially when you might want something like a USB-C card reader if you're editing video, or a USB dock if you're gonna be making music, because if you're actually gonna be making any proper music, you're gonna need an interface. I know I say this, and I probably would get used to it if I got a model without it, but it would have been nice if it had stayed. Okay, that's what I've found out so far in this one day I've owned it. I've really been enjoying this device so far, and I am very much looking forward to using it more. Now, I know this has been a short one today, but that's mainly because I've only owned it for one day, but I'll be back with lots more content soon. Regardless, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Also, I'd like some suggestions for iPad apps to try. Realistically, I really want to put this thing through its paces, and I'm very much looking forward to doing so. Alright guys, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, and smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one, which will be soon, by the way. Sorry that this video is late. In fact, I've almost finished that 1 hour screen time per day video. Alright, see you soon.